how dangerous is it for business owners to try to work through like being burnt out?
It's actually pretty dangerous. And don't worry, I have some like helpful tips and strategies, but this is like the dark part of this conversation. Because what begins to happen is we actually see neurological changes in the brain. We can look at a functional MRI, an image of the brain, and see changes to the structure and chemistry of the brain when burnout is allowed to sort of exist for weeks, months, years on end. Specifically, we see an overactivation of the amygdala, which is the like fear center of the brain, but it also houses negative emotion. So that's probably where that cynicism and crustiness kind of comes from. The amygdala is overfiring. And then we also see diminished connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. So you probably know, your listeners probably know, the prefrontal cortex is this like executive functioning part of our brain, right? That's how we do our planning. It's how we do our self-talk. It's the like really juicy CEO part of our brain. And when those connections begin to diminish, the executive part of our brain is less able to calm down the amygdala. So it gets more negative and there's less capacity to talk yourself through it. So when that happens for a long time, we begin to see the same kinds of physiological deterioration or markers of chronic stress that you've probably heard of. We see increased risk for heart disease. We see increased risk for some kind of cancer. We see decreased immune function. So you just sort of are sick all the time. So basically the brain suffers and the body follows when people just power through burnout for too long.